Hello and welcome to Scale War Machines. Time for another guide looking at popular modelling products. Here's what we'll be looking at this time.
Nowadays, there's a baffling array of weathering products from a variety of different manufacturers. Each take a slightly different approach, but the goal is to help you create a realistic finish on your scale models. One such product caught our eye a couple of years back. They're called Tensocroms, and you'll find them in the catalogue of Italian paint manufacturer Lifecolor. They make really high quality water-based acrylic paints, which are often marketed in box sets with a clearly defined purpose. Their Tensocrom products also come packaged in box sets, and there are two, labelled as Set 1 and Set 2. Set 1, reference TSC01, groups together the following colours: sand, earth, grass, rust 1 and rust 2. It also comes with a bottle of so-called medium. The second set, TSC02, offers the following references: oil, smoke, kerosene, fuel, burnt brown and white oxide. We discovered there wasn't that much information on how to use them, so we thought it was time to make a quick how-to explaining their use. But firstly, what are these products? Well, the clue is when you open the bottle. Whilst the 22ml container is common to all Lifecolor shades, what's inside is different. You'll see that the contents are very liquid, extremely thin and really translucent. They're officially called acrylic active surface agents. According to Lifecolor, the bottles contain special pigments bound together in a unique medium, and the Tensocroms have two purposes. Firstly, they are really a type of glaze. The idea is that you use them to adjust the chroma or weather a top coat of paint. Secondly, you can apply them zonally for specific surface effects or targeted weathering effects. They're designed to be simple and easy to use and are water-based, so have no odour or toxicity. You can use the medium to thin down or adjust each shade. Let's look at some possible ways to apply them. Firstly, as a glaze, and secondly, as a wash or for spot effects, stains and markings. We'll use our test piece that featured in the Lifecolor Burn Set review. We'll now use the Tensocroms to adjust the finish to our liking. There's two options. You can either brush on repeated semi-transparent glazes, or you can spray them on using an airbrush at low pressure. Repeated applications subtly change the underlying paint coat. Here on our test piece, you can see this in action. And that's primarily how we use the Tensocroms. Let's see them in action on a different model, but this time with a slightly different method. We apply sand and earth on our Char B1 bis to show deposits of dust. You can see we dab on small amounts of Tensocrom in selected areas. We also use it more like a wash, as here on the track runs and lower parts. You can even add pigments into the Tensocroms for even more diverse mud or dust effects. After drying, this is what you get. Here you can see the realistic dust effects, as well as the mud variations where we've added pigments. Some of the references lend themselves very well to precise wash effects. We have found shades like kerosene, smoke, oil and fuel especially useful for depicting surface stains and fuel type deposits, like you might get on an engine deck or where fuel leaks. Just brush it on with a fine brush. Don't forget that in all these cases you can also water down the mix or use the medium to get different intensities of application. However, it's worth pointing out that Lifecolor's medium has another important use. In fact, it's something that's easily overlooked. That bottle of medium allows you to make your own Tensocrom mixes from any shade in the Lifecolor range. As an example, we're going to make our own custom rust shade. Just mix a small amount of paint with the medium, about 20 to 80 as a ratio should do it. Here you can see our homemade rust mix being applied. Once dry, you get a very subtle and translucent coating of rust.
How about helping us out by doing this?
Remember, you can spray Tensocroms, not just as a uniform airbrushed coat, but also at very low pressure, using a technique called stippling to depict flecks and specks of mud and dirt. By turning the pressure right down, you get a pleasing effect. It's easier if you use an airbrush like our Iwata HPCH that has a MAC valve on the body of the airbrush to turn the pressure right down. Here you can see us using this technique on the model. The best way to get the most from these is to try them for yourself and experiment, but be aware that the effect is permanent once dry and cannot be undone, so go gently. Whilst they can be applied wholesale to an entire model as a general surface wash, we tend to find that they are best used in small areas or zones at a time, in carefully applied doses. This is the main difference between the Tensocroms and, say, an enamel-based product. The Tensocroms are less adjustable and less controllable. You can dab them off and adjust them a bit before they dry, but once dry, they are almost impossible to shift. If you're looking for something that's adjustable and easily removed, Lifecolor's brand new liquid pigments are an exciting water-based product that work in exactly that way, and we'll be reviewing them soon. They can be easily removed or blended, even once dry. But once you've got the hang of the Tensocroms, you'll find they are really useful, and they give especially subtle and realistic weathering effects.
Stay tuned for more how-to guides. That's all for now. Bye.
Subscribe for our latest videos.